What if a widow asked Jesus to never forget the face of her love, and the memories became her prison? The room smelled like him. 3 years had passed, and the room still smelled like him. Esther sat at the edge of the bed they had shared for 27 years, her fingers tracing the worn fabric of his pillow. She could see him, not a fading photograph in her mind, not a gentle blur of features softened by time. She could see him with a clarity that defied nature itself. Every line around his eyes when he smiled, every silver strand in his dark hair, the exact shade of brown in his irises, flecked with gold in the sunlight. She could hear his laugh, feel the warmth of his hand in hers, taste the coffee he made every Sunday morning. Too strong, always too strong. The memories were perfect, crystalline, unmoving, and they were killing her. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Let us go back to where this began, back to the moment Esther made a choice that would change everything. It was the first Sunday after the funeral. Esther was 39 years old when she became a widow. The word felt foreign on her tongue, like a language she had never wanted to learn. She had stood at David's grave with their 2 daughters, watching the earth swallow the man who had been her entire world. Everyone said the same things. Time heals. He is in a better place. You will find peace. But Esther did not want time to heal. She did not want peace if peace meant forgetting. She did not want the edges of David to soften, the sound of his voice to fade, the feeling of his presence to become a ghost. She wanted him, all of him, forever. That first Sunday, she went to the small chapel at the edge of town, the same chapel where she and David had married, the same chapel where they had baptized their daughters, the same wooden pews, the same stained glass windows casting colored light across the stone floor. She knelt before the altar and she prayed, not the prayers they taught her as a child, not the rehearsed words of gratitude and submission. This was something raw, something desperate. She prayed to Jesus with a faith so fierce it burned in her chest. Do not let me forget him. Do not let time steal him from me. Let me remember every moment, every word, every touch. Let his face stay clear in my mind. Let his voice stay strong in my ears. Please, I am begging you. Do not let him fade. The chapel was silent. And then it was not. She did not hear a voice. Not in the way voices exist in the physical world. But she felt something. A presence. A warmth that wrapped around her like arms she knew too well. A whisper that was not a sound, but a knowing. Your wish is granted. Esther opened her eyes. The colored light from the stained glass seemed brighter. The air felt heavier. She stood, her knees weak, her heart pounding. She did not know, in that moment, what she had truly asked for. At first, it felt like a gift from heaven itself. Esther could remember everything, not just the big moments, the wedding, the births of their daughters, the vacations, the anniversaries. She remembered the small things, the mundane things, the things that make up a life. She remembered the way David hummed while he shaved in the morning, the way he always left his shoes by the door, never in the closet where they belonged, the way he said her name, with a softness that made her feel like the only woman in the world. She could close her eyes and be back in any moment they had shared. She could feel the sun on her face from their honeymoon in the mountains. She could hear the rain on the roof the night their first daughter was born. She could taste the burnt toast he made the morning he told her he loved her for the very first time. The grief was still there. The pain was still unbearable. But the memories were a comfort, a sanctuary, a place where David was still alive. Her daughters noticed the change. Mama, you need to eat. Mama, you have not left the house in days. Mama, please talk to us. But how could she talk to them when David was right there, in her mind, more vivid than the world around her? She started spending more time alone, in their bedroom, in his study, In the garden where he used to grow tomatoes every summer, she would sit for hours, replaying memories like films behind her eyes. Their first date, their first kiss, the first time he held her hand, the last time he held her hand. The memories did not fade. They did not soften. They did not blur. They stayed sharp, perfect, unchanging. And Esther realized something that filled her with a strange, dark comfort. She did not have to let him go. She did not have to move forward. She could stay here, in this space between the past and the present, where David was always with her. If you have ever lost someone you loved, leave a comment below. You are not alone in this. Months passed. Esther stopped going to church. She stopped answering the phone. She stopped attending family dinners and school events for her daughters. The world outside became noise, unnecessary, intrusive. Her daughters begged her to see someone, a therapist, a counselor, a grief support group. But Esther did not need support. She had David. She had every version of him, every moment of him, preserved in her mind with a clarity that felt supernatural. Because it was. She began to notice things that should have frightened her. The memories were not just clear, they were immersive. When she remembered the day they met, she was not just recalling it. She was there. She could feel the fabric of the dress she wore. She could smell the cologne he had on. She could feel the flutter in her stomach when he smiled at her. Time stopped meaning anything. She could spend what felt like hours in a single memory, only to open her eyes and realize minutes had passed. Or sometimes it was the opposite. She would close her eyes for what felt like a moment, and an entire day would be gone. Her daughters started to look at her with something worse than sadness. They looked at her with fear. "Mama, you are scaring us. Mama, please come back." But Esther could not come back because she had never left. She was exactly where she wanted to be. She was with David. One evening, her eldest daughter Miriam sat beside her on the bed. Esther was staring at the wall, her eyes open but unseeing, lost in a memory of David reading to her on a rainy afternoon. Miriam took her mother's hand. "Mama, do you remember me?" The question pulled Esther back, just slightly. She turned to look at her daughter. 22 years old. David's eyes. David's smile. "Of course I remember you." Miriam's voice broke. "Then why does it feel like you forgot?" Esther did not have an answer, because the truth was too terrible to speak aloud. She had not forgotten her daughters, but they were part of the present, and the present was a place of pain. The past was where David lived. The past was where she wanted to stay. That night, alone in the dark, Esther whispered a prayer. "Thank you. Thank you for letting me keep him." But for the first time, there was no warmth, no presence, no whispering return, only silence. And in that silence, Esther felt something she had not felt since the day at the chapel. Doubt. What if this was not a gift? What if this was something else? She pushed the thought away. She closed her eyes. She sank back into a memory of David holding her, telling her everything would be okay. And for a moment, it was. But the doubt remained. A small seed, planted deep, beginning to grow. Because Esther was starting to realize something that would shatter her. The memories were not just keeping David alive. They were keeping her from living. She could not remember the last time she had truly looked at her daughters. Not through the lens of grief, not as reminders of what she lost, but as the people they were becoming. She could not remember the last time she felt the sun on her face and appreciated it. The last time she tasted food and enjoyed it. The last time she felt anything other than the ache of absence. The word freedom started to feel like a betrayal, because freedom meant letting go, and letting go meant losing David all over again. But faith, the thing she had clung to so desperately, was beginning to twist into something unrecognizable. She had asked Jesus for a miracle, and he had given her one. But miracles, she was learning, were not always blessings. Sometimes they were warnings. Sometimes they were reflections of the prayers we should never have prayed. Esther sat in the dark, her hands folded in her lap, and for the first time in 3 years, she asked herself a question she had been too afraid to face. What have I done? The answer came slowly, like poison seeping through her veins. She had asked for something that was never meant to be given. The days blurred together. Esther stopped trying to distinguish between memory and reality. Why bother? Reality was cold and empty. Memory was warm and full. Her daughters came less and less. When they did come, Esther barely registered their presence. She would nod, smile weakly, say the things she thought they needed to hear. But her mind was elsewhere, always elsewhere. She was at the beach with David 20 years ago, laughing as the waves crashed over their feet. She was in the kitchen with David, dancing to a song on the radio, flour on his nose from baking bread. She was in bed with David, his hand resting on her stomach, feeling their first daughter kick for the very first time. The memories were more real than the floor beneath her feet. And that was when Esther understood the true nature of her prison. It was not made of walls or chains. It was made of love, of longing, of a grief so deep it had consumed her entirely. She had asked Jesus to never let her forget David's face, and he had not. But in preserving the past so perfectly, she had destroyed her future. One night, Miriam came to the house, not to visit, to confront. She found her mother in the bedroom, sitting in the same spot she always sat, staring at nothing, her lips moving in silent conversation with a ghost. Miriam's voice was sharp, desperate. "Mama, this has to stop." Esther blinked, pulled from a memory of David's 40th birthday party. She looked at her daughter as if seeing a stranger. What has to stop? Miriam gestured around the room, at the untouched laundry, the dust on the furniture, the photographs covering every surface, some new, some old, all of David. This, all of this. You are disappearing, Mama. You are here, but you are not here. Esther's voice was soft, distant. I am exactly where I need to be. Miriam knelt in front of her mother, tears streaming down her face. He is gone, Mama. Daddy is gone. And I know it hurts. I know you miss him. I miss him too. But we are still here. Your daughters are still here. We need you. Please, come back to us. Esther reached out and touched her daughter's cheek. For a moment, just a moment, she saw her. Really saw her. Miriam had grown so much. She looked so much like David. The same strength in her eyes. The same stubborn set to her jaw. But then the moment passed, because Esther's mind was pulling her back. Back to a memory of Miriam as a child, 5 years old, sitting on David's shoulders, laughing as he spun her around. That version of Miriam was easier to hold, easier to love, because that version existed in a time when David was still alive. Esther's hand fell away. I cannot. Miriam stood. Her voice broke. Then you have already left us. She walked out. Esther heard the front door close. She heard the car pull away, and then there was silence. Esther closed her eyes and sank back into the past. Weeks passed, or maybe months. Esther was no longer sure. Her younger daughter, Abigail, came once more. She did not argue. She did not plead. She simply sat beside her mother and held her hand. I do not know if you can hear me, Mama, but I want you to know that I forgive you. Esther's eyes were open, but she was not there. I forgive you for choosing him over us. I forgive you for leaving before you died. I forgive you because I know this is not your fault. Abigail's voice wavered. But I also want you to know that I am saying goodbye, because the mother I knew is gone, and I cannot keep mourning two people. She kissed her mother's forehead. I love you. I will always love you, but I have to let you go. Esther felt the kiss. Somewhere deep inside, beneath the layers of memory, she felt it. But she could not respond. She could not move. She could not break free, because the memories had her now, completely, irreversibly. That night, Esther lay in bed, her body present, but her soul lost in the labyrinth of the past. She tried to remember what Miriam had said, what Abigail had said, but their words slipped through her mind like water through a sieve. All she could hold on to was David. David, David, David. His name was a prayer, a mantra, a chain. She whispered into the darkness, "I did what you told me to do. I kept him. I never let him fade. Why does it hurt so much?" There was no answer. There had not been an answer for a long time, because the truth, the terrible truth, was this. Jesus had not done this to her. She had done this to herself. She had mistaken devotion for faith. She had mistaken remembrance for love. She had mistaken clinging to the dead for honoring their memory. And now she was paying the price. Esther's body grew weaker. She stopped eating, stopped drinking. Her daughters called doctors, but there was nothing medically wrong with her. She was simply fading, choosing, consciously or not, to slip away into the only place she wanted to be, the place where David was waiting. On the last night of her life, Esther lay in the bed they had shared, her breathing shallow, her heartbeat slow. She was not afraid. There was no fear left in her, only exhaustion. She closed her eyes one final time, and the memory that came was not one she had visited before. It was new, or perhaps it had always been there, hidden beneath the others. She was standing in the chapel, the same chapel where she had made her desperate prayer 3 years ago. But this time, David was standing beside her. He looked at her with those brown eyes flecked with gold, and for the first time since his death, she saw sadness in them. Esther. His voice was exactly as she remembered, but there was something different in it, something heavy. "You were supposed to live." She reached for him, but he stepped back. "I never wanted this for you. I wanted you to grieve. I wanted you to hurt, but I also wanted you to heal. I wanted you to laugh again, to see our daughters grow, to find joy in the life you still had." Tears streamed down Esther's face. "I could not let you go." David's expression was unbearably gentle. "I was never yours to hold on to, my love. I was a gift. And gifts are not meant to be clenched so tightly that they crush us." He reached out and touched her face, and for the first time in 3 years, she felt him. Not a memory, him. "Let me go, Esther. Please, let me go." But even in this final moment, even with his hand on her cheek and his voice in her ears, Esther could not. Because she had asked for a memory that would never fade, a face she would never forget. And Jesus, in his mysterious mercy or his terrible justice, had given her exactly what she asked for, not as a blessing, but as an answer to a prayer that should never have been prayed. David's image flickered, faded, and then he was gone. And Esther was alone in the chapel, kneeling before the altar, just as she had been 3 years ago. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out, because there was nothing left of her to scream. She had become the memory, and the memory had become her prison. In the physical world, in the bedroom she had not left for months, Esther's body took its last breath. Her daughters would find her in the morning. They would weep. They would bury her next to David, just as she had always wanted. But Esther was not there. She was trapped in the space between life and death, between past and present, in a prison built from love and faith and the refusal to let go. The memory of David's face would never fade, and she would never be free. This is the danger of a love that refuses to transform, of a grief that refuses to release, of a faith that demands God preserve what was never meant to last forever. We are called to remember, to honor, to cherish, but we are also called to live. And when we forget that, when we ask for the impossible and receive it, we discover that some miracles are not gifts at all. They are consequences, If this story moved you, if it made you think about loss, memory, and the delicate balance between honoring the past and embracing the future, please subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below, because stories like Esther's are warnings. And sometimes, the most important thing we can do is listen. Esther's story reminds us of something profound. That love, in its purest form, is meant to transform us, not trap us. And sometimes, the hardest act of faith is not holding on ... but learning to let go. If her journey touched something deep inside you, if you have ever struggled with the weight of memory or the fear of forgetting someone you loved, you understand why these stories matter. They hold up a mirror to the prayers we whisper in our darkest moments, the impossible things we ask for when grief makes us desperate. And there is another story I need to share with you. Another prayer, another mother, another love so fierce it defied every natural law. What if a mother asked Jesus to trade places with her sick son? What would you sacrifice to save the person you love most in this world? This mother answered that question in a way that will break your heart and rebuild it. Her story is waiting for you right now, and I promise you, it will challenge everything you think you know about sacrifice, faith, and the mysterious ways our deepest prayers are answered. Do not let this moment pass. Click on the next video and let her story find you, because some lessons can only be learned through the lives of others. And this is one you need to hear.